Well, Yang Gang, it is a sad day. Andrew Yang is suspended his presidential campaign. I'm sad about this. He was one of the good guys. And I hate to see one of the good guys exit the race when you've still got a bunch of establishment, corporate bought out Democrats in the race. So this is just really a sad day. Here is what he had to say as to one of the reasons why he was ending his campaign.
I am not someone who wants to accept donations and support in a race that we will not win. And so tonight, I am announcing I am suspending my campaign for president.
I mean, you know, he's obviously an honorable guy, an honest guy. He says he knows math, so he sees the numbers. And unfortunately, the numbers were just not on his side when it came to the actual ballot box. In Iowa, none of the candidates actually suspended their campaigns after Iowa because Iowa was such a mess. But after New Hampshire, we've now seen 3 of the candidates suspend their campaigns. Andrew Yang, Michael Bennet, and Deval Patrick have ended their bids for president. So this is just really disappointing. For one, we're not going to see any more of these fun moments in the debates. I was really looking forward to continuing to see Andrew Yang up there.
He's all bluster and braggadocio. I'm like Spock and ice to his fire.
But, you know, the thing that I loved about Andrew Yang the most is that he understood the problem. He really, truly understands the sentiment of how many of us are feeling in this country. Here is one of the great clips from his last debate where he really called out Pete Buttigieg and said, no, you don't understand. Here's the problem.
Donald Trump is not the cause of all of our problems, and we're making a mistake when we act like he is.
That's right.
He is a symptom of a disease that has been building up in our communities for years and decades. And it is our job to get to the harder work of actually curing the disease. Most Americans feel like the political parties have been playing you lose, I lose, you lose, I lose for years. And you know who's been losing this entire time? We have. Our communities have. Our communities' way of life is disintegrating beneath our feet. That's why Iowa, a traditional swing state, went to Trump by almost 10 points. That's why Ohio, a traditional swing state, is now so red that I'm told we're not even going to campaign there. So these communities are seeing their way of life get blasted into smithereens. We've automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs and counting. We're closing 30% of New Hampshire stores and malls, and Amazon, the force behind that, is literally paying zero in taxes. These are the changes that Americans are seeing and feeling around us every day. And if we get to the hard work of curing those problems, we will not just defeat Donald Trump in the fall, but we'll actually be able to move our communities forward.
Absolutely. 100%. I love Andrew Yang. I just really wish he were still in the race. This is a guy who gets it. It's about the people, stupid. That's what it's about. You know, the Democrats, establishment Democrats, are just up there screaming on Capitol Hill and in Washington about, oh, Donald Trump, he's an evil man. We've got to defeat Donald Trump. They open up investigation after investigation on the guy. Meanwhile, we've got people with, they've got fewer jobs or jobs that they can actually do. They're working multiple jobs in order to make ends meet. We've got an opioid crisis. We have a housing crisis with homeless living in the streets are intense. We've got student loans, debt that many of us are riddled in. Many of us cannot afford the rising housing prices. Many of us are living in a sharing economy because we can't afford to buy things for ourselves like our previous generations, like the parents and our parents' parents. We've got a serious crisis going on where the American dream is effectively dead. And you've got all of these people in Washington pointing the finger, playing this I win, you lose game. That's all they care about, is winning re-election, milking their donors, remaining in power, remaining in the spotlight. They get to be quasi-celebrities. And meanwhile, the American people are suffering. Andrew Yang understood that. Many of these other Democrats, they absolutely do not understand this. They're not understanding that it is about the economy. It's about the people. It's about, do we feel like we're able to live the lives that we were sold when we were children in the fairy tale books? Right now, that is not the case. Many of us are looking at, many of us are looking at Canada, thinking, God, maybe we should immigrate. They've got a better system there. Life is better as we get older there because they're not so hyper-capitalist, that the economy is just built for the wealthy And meanwhile, the little guy gets screwed. And that's what Andrew Yang is talking about. He's talking about Amazon pays no taxes. You've got Jeff Bezos, who's now the richest guy in the world. He doesn't pay taxes on his company. And meanwhile, people are struggling to put their kids in college, to pay for their own college, to put their kids in daycare, to pay for their cars, their homes. People are struggling. And Andrew Yang fully understood that. It is a shame to see this guy go. I really wish that people would have paid more attention to him. I am so proud of the campaign he ran as an Asian American man. It is very difficult for Asians to be seen. We tend to be an invisible race of people. I really love that Andrew Yang got out there and, he was a long shot candidate. Here's a guy with no political experience, but that was his benefit. That was his benefit, that he had no political experience. He's not a Washington insider. He's not a guy who's trying to grease his own pockets with money and, just like the rest of them up in Capitol Hill who are making millions and millions of dollars sitting in political office. It doesn't make sense to us. But it is just really sad to see one of the good guys go. So now the big question is, what next? What's going to happen now with the Yang Gang? Where are you going to be putting your support next? I asked this question on my Twitter feed. I also saw a couple of other people asking that question. So let's go over where some of the Yang Gang might be going. First of all, a couple of the other polls. Here was one from Problem Solver Politics on YouTube. This one was sent to me, this screenshot here. So the question, what will you do with your Yang Gang energy now? And here's where it gets really interesting. This one, 53% say quit politics. I registered for Andrew. So he brought out a lot of those people that were apathetic previously. We've got a huge population who are not voting. I think it's 40% or more that do not vote. So you've got a bunch of people who felt energized for the first time to come out and vote for a candidate that they felt like actually spoke to them. So 53% in this poll say quit politics. I registered for Andrew. I also saw that sentiment a lot on my Twitter feed when I asked the question, where are you going to go? Who are you going to vote for now? Many of them said nobody. I mean, I registered to vote for Andrew Yang. I was excited about Andrew Yang. I don't like anybody else. I'm not going to vote for anybody. Vote blue no matter who, 5%. Thank God. We don't need, stop falling for it, guys. Stop falling for it. Stop falling for it. The establishment is robbing us blind. The American dream is dead. We have to stop falling for this. The thing that matters the most is, how are we going to support ourselves? How are we going to make ends meet? How are our children going to support themselves and make ends meet? How are we going to get educations, healthcare, and homes? Those are the things that matter. Jobs, those are the things that matter. Stop voting blue no matter who. Look at this one here. Vote Trump 2020, 16% say that they're going to vote Trump. I also saw that on my Twitter feed as well. I feel like this poll was pretty much really very similar to what I saw on my feed. I feel like it's pretty similar. I didn't actually put mine up as a poll, so I don't have percentage numbers. I just, threw it out there and people were answering. Vote Trump 2020, 16%. Saw that a lot. A lot of people like Andrew Yang, and if it's not Yang, they're going back to Trump. So they're looking for somebody who's saying, I'm going to bring jobs back, or I'm going to solve this jobs problem. Andrew Yang had a unique way of solving that problem. He says universal basic income. This way, you can supplement yourself while you get your feet on the ground, training for a new job, or supplementing you because your job was cut down from the hours, or maybe you could start your own business. You could do whatever you want with it. They're looking for unique solutions, or just a solution in general to the job problem. Here's this one. Vote second choice. Write in the description. That's 6%. Who say they're going to do a write-in or vote for their second choice. And vote Bernie Sanders. You got 21% going for Bernie Sanders. So Bernie's going to see a boost now that Yang is out of the race. He's going to see a little bit of a boost. Now, I also saw on my Twitter feed a lot of people going for Tulsi Gabbard. So for them, but then again, it was my Twitter following. I've got a lot of Tulsi fans in my Twitter following, so it's a skewed sample size. I understand that, but a lot of people on my feed said Tulsi. They were going to vote for Tulsi. But I also saw a lot of people say Bernie Sanders. A lot of people say Trump. And some people even say disengaged, just not going to vote for anybody else. Here's another poll. This one was done on Twitter by Mara T. She also asked the question, now that Andrew Yang suspended his campaign, who are all of you Yang Gang voting for? She says, I only put the top 3 Dems since they're the most likely nominees. Here you go, 35% for Bernie Sanders. So you've got 35%, a third, going over to Bernie. 5.7% to Buttigieg. Come on, Yang Gang. You know better than that, right? You're not going to go for a centrist suddenly, are you? Warren, 4.8%, and Trump, 54.4% going over to Trump. So really going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. You've got a lot of people who voted, who are going for Yang because they're disengaged voters. A lot of them are Trump supporters, and the rest of them seem to be going for Bernie or Tulsi Gabbard for the most part. There are some that are going to go, to like Warren or Buttigieg, or I even saw some say Klobuchar, some kind of interesting places. But I'm just still so bummed. I really am. I really love Andrew Yang. But you know what? This is just candidates. They run again. This isn't the first time nor the last time that Andrew Yang needs to throw his hat into the ring. Would really love to see him in any Democratic administration for sure. This guy needs to be in our government helping us people out. I really feel like Andrew Yang is a guy that has our best interests in mind. He's worried about the country. He's a true patriot. This is a guy that we need in our leadership. He needs to be there, moving us forward for sure. So there's always potentially next time, and I know a lot of the Yang Gang is hoping for it. This was the last thing that Andrew Yang heard as he stood up on the stage, and this is, we will leave it here. So best of luck to you, Andrew Yang. Thank you so much for running. Thank you so much for the conversation of universal basic income. People were just not ready for it, but thank you for that conversation. Thank you for putting yourself out there. Thank you for representing us Asians. Thank you for that. Hats off, Andrew. Really, really a great campaign. Really great.